Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Vegan Cupid dating show. I am Karen, your host for today, and I have a very special show for you planned today. So you may have seen on Sunday, but I did do one of these vegan couples showcase. So if you haven't checked that out, please go and check it out because I interviewed some really amazing couples, okay? So, and my goal with doing this is really to inspire everyone to really be able to see that it is absolutely possible to find an amazing vegan partner. And I am so excited for the two couples that I have here today. They both have incredible stories, and I can't wait for you to hear them. So without further ado, here we are. You guys may recognize this beautiful couple. Please go ahead and introduce yourselves.
Hey, ladies first.
Oh, thank you. Hi, I am Dr. Brooke Goldner, Tadlock.
And I'm Thomas Tadlock.
Awesome. And
here we are.
Yes.
Been married for over 15 years, 16 years.
Yeah, it'll be 16 in October. Yeah.
That is so amazing. And you guys really have an incredible story. So please, we want to hear it. How did you meet? Were you vegan when you met? Did you go vegan together? Let's hear it.
Oh, goodness. So the short version of the story is that I picked him up at a bar. But there's a longer version to the story that I think really helps a lot more teaching people about relationships as we've done before. So actually, we had seen each other before because we both went to the same undergrad, Carnegie Mellon, but dated different people. And I was in medical school in Pittsburgh, and I was actually on a first date with somebody else. And he was a really negative, kind of abusive date. I mean, he was making fun of me, but not in a funny way. I have a pretty good sense of humor, but, telling me I was in the ugly girl sorority in college, saying I talk too much and tell too many stories. And I said, I don't know why you asked me out, but I'm not enjoying this date. And I think that you're rude and insulting, and I'm not here for that. But I really liked the place he brought me. It had great music. So I said, listen, I'm going to stay because the music's wonderful, but the date part's over. I'm going to get someone else to give me a ride back to my car because we'd met at another spot. And thank you, but it's done. And I walked away. And I actually really enjoyed the music. It was drum and bass, and I was dancing and having a good time. And Thomas happened to be there that night too. A friend dragged him out on a night he normally wouldn't be there. And when I went to get some water from the bar to rehydrate from all my dancing, I saw him sitting there, the most gorgeous person I've ever seen. I mean, energetically too. And he smiled at me, and I went, I recognize that guy. So I pulled one of those, don't I know you, things. And he said, yes, we went to the same college. I dated your sorority sister. And so I just sat down and started talking to him, and it was the opposite of that other guy. He was just funny, and I felt so happy and fulfilled, and totally forgot how I got there actually until the other guy showed up and tried to start a fight. And then I had to explain, oh yeah, I came with him. But because I was willing to walk away from somebody who wasn't kind, I walked up to the person who ended up being my partner forever. And so Thomas gave me a ride back to my car. We exchanged numbers, and within 2 months, we were planning our wedding. Really, yeah.
Yeah, I remember when Thomas.
3.5 weeks. Brooke was the coolest person I'd ever met. And at that point, I had just made a decision that I'm going to just focus on myself. I'm going to focus on my business and not get distracted with relationships. And then the moment I got to a point where I just felt so fulfilled with what I was doing for myself, that's when she showed up in my life and just ruined all of my plans of just being 100% single and focused on my own personal fulfillment. So I met Brooke, and I thought, you know what? I have a history of every time I'd get into a relationship with somebody, the breakup would always be not good. And I would never be able to maintain a great friendship with most of the people that I ever dated. And so I didn't want that for Brooke. And I thought, all right, the secret, I think the key that I'm going to have to make happen here is to not date her. I got to make sure that whatever happens, I don't date her because I want to keep her as one of my closest friends, because this is best friend material right here. I don't ever want to screw that up. Despite being physically and emotionally and spiritually attracted to her, I didn't want her to leave my life. I wanted her to be part of my life. So for 2 weeks, I tried to fend off all of her advances.
And I really was working it. I was trying.
She was.
Yeah,
it's true. And I'm saying, be strong, Thomas. Be strong. Don't mess this up.
Well, and that was the thing. That also, the funny thing is, right before I met him, I had decided, I wanted to spend the time really working on myself. I was finishing up medical school. I was moving to California for my residency. And I was tired of fixing men. I said, my life is so good. And then when I start having to fix a guy, then I'm actually less energetic and less happy. So I decided to just focus on my life and my friends and what gave me joy. And I was really happy. I still went on dates. I mean, I was a starving medical student. You want to take me out to dinner or buy me a drink, I was going to go. But I had no plans for relationships. But when I met Thomas, it was every part of me was at home and felt so pulled. So yeah, after 2 weeks of torture where he was hanging out with me constantly, texting me all day long, and we're hanging out, and then there was no kissing, there was no cuddling. And I finally just asked him straight up. I said, "Are you attracted to me?" And he said, "Yes." And I said, "Why don't you kiss me?" And he said, "Okay."
I love that. I love how, and that's the thing. Sometimes as women, sometimes some women are afraid to be direct, right? But you have to tell your partner, the person you're dating, what you want. And
yeah, I've never had a problem with directness.
So I wanted to. I wanted to way before she even asked me. But I thought this was going to be the one relationship that I keep long term. Because I didn't want to sabotage this amazing friendship. Like before her, I only had one other real best friend, and I lost him at 24 years old. He died of testicular cancer. It was the only person that I really felt got me, understood me, that I felt safe being around all the time. And it devastated me inside. And so, there's a part of my heart that was still healing from that. And then I meet Brooke, and she makes me feel all the same things again. She made me feel safe. She made me feel accepted. She made me inspired to just fully be who I am without any fear or any blowback. And I didn't want to sabotage that in any way. And just having such a terrible track record with previous relationships that just turned out so poorly, I didn't want to ruin it. So, my heart wanted to be with Brooke so badly, but there was a part of me saying, okay, you're going to screw it up if you do. It's going to get somehow screwed up. But then she, forced me to kiss her, and I couldn't resist.
I didn't force you to kiss me. I asked you to kiss me. But yes, his defenses fell, and then I couldn't get the lips off me, and I never have in 16 years, which I'm very happy about, actually.
So grateful. I'm so grateful that she is who she is, because it's just inevitable. That's going to be what happens when she decides that she wants something. It's just going to happen. And it was the greatest thing ever. I mean, like the moment we locked lips, it was like we went full force into each other, into this relationship. And it's been unbelievably blissful, but like we had never experienced a love this strong in any other way. Yeah. And 3.5 weeks later, we're like, all right, how do we figure out this marriage thing? Because we're definitely getting married.
Yeah, that's incredible. I mean, that is so soon.
But I mean, at that point, we had some good dating experience under our belts. And I think the most important part of it too was we weren't trying to fix anything. A lot of times, even as a psychiatrist, I see people who they're attracted to someone else because they think that they're fixing something that's lacking themselves. Like, he's good at this and I'm bad at this, and he makes me feel whole and all this stuff. Neither of us was looking for someone to feel whole. We were both independently extremely happy, fulfilled, needed nothing and nobody. So when we met, it was only adding. He didn't need me. In fact, he was the first person that made me understand what it felt like for someone to make me a better person, where he inspired me to do more and be more. And he still does every day. And I do the same for him, that together we are better versions of ourselves, not because we needed to be fixed, but because we inspire and support each other so much. So I think on that level, when we achieved that, we knew it very quickly. We weren't, I think a lot of times people are looking for love because they think it's going to solve something for them. We actually were not looking for it. And then we realized how much we add to each other's lives, and that it was something neither of us was willing to walk away from. And I was moving to California from Pittsburgh. That's why it was already at a month why we were talking about marriage too, was I was leaving to go across the country. So it was like, are we building something here? Because I don't want to stop this. This is the best thing I've ever experienced. So if we're building something, what are we building? So we didn't actually get married to about 1.5 years later. He took 6 months to sell all of his possessions, including his house. And he pulled a Goodwill Hunting and drove from Pittsburgh to California, only stopping once to nap for a few hours, and showed up at my doorstep. And then we started planning our wedding. And so then we were actually married a year. So we did but we knew right away.
That's amazing. I absolutely love it. And so you've been together for a long time, and as you know, 50% of marriages unfortunately end up in divorce. Mm-hmm. And so many relationships fail. And I strongly believe that it has to do with communication issues, right? And so what would you say has been your secret to, continuing and maintaining this happy and healthy relationship after so many years?
Well, we know quite a few couples that we were friends with, and now they're no longer together. And so we can see firsthand what the differences were between how they treated each other and how we treat ourselves. And so when I wrote a post promoting this interview, I wrote some of the most fundamental things that Brooke and I have been doing from day one. And you mentioned communication. Brooke and I have had from day one completely transparent, ongoing, constant communication. Brooke and I talk to each other all day long, every single day. You remember when we had, it was our second apartment that we got together, or third apartment we got together. And we lived above this nice old man who was like kind of the landlord mayor of the thing, and he lived right above him in Naples, Belmont Shore, California, in Southern California. And our windows were open. There was no AC, so you could hear everything that we're saying. And he was hysterical. I mean, he used to jokingly complain about us, like, why can't you just be like all the other normal couples and just watch TV in silence? All I hear you guys do all day long is talk. We are constantly chatting and sharing our emotions and our feelings with each other, staring through each other's eyes. We do that all day long. So There's no surprises and no secrets. Oftentimes we talk to these couples that are struggling and eventually get divorced. And a lot of times the one person on one side of the couple is surprised about the feelings of the others, and so on and so forth. And that's foreign to us. We're like, how could you ever be surprised? How could I ever be surprised about anything that you're feeling or anything that's coming up? Because we communicate so much constantly, and we're so transparent about our feelings and emotions to each other constantly. We always know where the other is standing.
I mean, we genuinely enjoy each other's company. Like, he's my favorite person.
Same.
So we designed our whole life around working together. So he works in the house with me, but he has his own office. I have mine. And we're constantly either yelling back and forth to each other, or I'm going up to his office between breaks. He's coming to mine. We have all our meals together. It's hard to sleep at night because we're talking and laughing until we go. It's like being with your best friend all the time. Sometimes we have to remind ourselves, like, okay, we got to go to bed. Yeah. But yeah, we genuinely enjoy each other, and we love sharing our hopes and our dreams and our feelings. And we have 100% commitment to honesty. So yeah, I think a lot of people, they kind of live separate lives, and then they're also happen to be married. Whereas
that's exactly, so that's how the buildup happens with struggles and other people's relationships that we see that struggle is the lack of communication. It creates you've got like a little barrier, a little wall, and on one side of the wall, one half of the couple is building up resentment and anger and frustration against the other person, and the other person is doing the same exact thing with no communication to kind of resolve those things. So typically what happens in those cases that we've seen is the differences grow so great that they don't even know what each other are. They can't even get on each other's side. They don't even see how things happen. For us, we are communicating transparently all day long, every day. Nothing even has a chance to build up to any significant level where it could cause a strife or a rift in the relationship.
And I would say that even before communication, there's the commitment, like we are more committed to each other in our relationship than to being right. So we're always talking because we want to be on common ground. Well, and we enjoy each other, but we want to meet eye to eye. And I think a lot of times people want to be right and they want to stick with doing things the way they do it and what they think is right and what they think is this is the correct way to do everything. And then there are these rifts that form. We want peace and harmony. We thrive on it. So whenever there's a struggle, we always automatically agree that the goal is that we're going to eliminate the struggle. But this is sacred. So the communication also comes from a place of mutual understanding and love and respect and desire to have the right outcome where we're both happy. Now, we don't, sometimes he gets his way, sometimes I get mine, but we communicate respectfully too, that it's not a battle. And that's when we teach people about fighting, because we've taught like week-long relationship retreats and stuff. And I say fighting is, when there's a fight, there's a winner and a loser, right? One person's bleeding on the ground and one person's got their arm pumping in the air. So we don't fight because neither of us wants to have the other one lose. We want to resolve issues and understand each other better. So we don't repeat fights either. I mean, I don't even know the last time we had a fight, many, many years. But whenever we've had an argument, we've never repeated the argument because we resolve it. We agree that we're going to grow, and then that never comes up again. So we also don't agree with all the people who say it's hard work to have a marriage. I have a job. This is not my job. This is my joy. So we don't work at our marriage. We talk to each other. We respect each other. We're loving to each other. We have fun together. And we always have that goal of that being, that the other person is as happy as we are.
I love that. And that's the thing. When you are communicating, you're not keeping things bottled up. And unfortunately, that's what happens a lot of the times, right? People, they just don't want to bring it up. And then one day you explode because it's just too much, right? And it's just not healthy to do that. So,
or people make conclusions about what they think the other person's motives are
all the time,
rather than talk, right? Like we've coached people through where they say, my husband doesn't respect the fact that I'm working so much. He's unemployed and I get home and the house is a mess. He doesn't respect me. He doesn't love me. He doesn't appreciate me. And then my answer was, did you ask him to clean? And she said, well, I didn't actually ask him. He should know. Oops, no shoulding. And I do complain about how dirty the house is. I'm like, ooh, complaining repels people. Why would he listen to you when you're complaining? He's like, ooh, that's repulsive energy. He's out of the room, right? So I just had her ask him. And I actually wrote the script for her. Like, here's how you ask. When I come home and I'm tired and I've worked all day, I feel very unloved and taken advantage of when the house is dirty. And I would feel so loved and respected and honored if you would clean. She came home the next day, the house was clean. So 10 years of resentment and anger, but she never actually asked. She assumed, she shoulded him, she got angry with him, she complained at him, but she didn't actually ask. And so people do that. They kind of project things on people. They assume they know what they think or what they mean, but they don't actually know how to communicate effectively in terms of truly expressing what you need in a specific way so the person can show up for you.
It's so true. And I can't tell you how often my own partner says, I'm not a mind reader. I'm like, yeah, you're right. I'm sorry.
Yes, people want to be there for you, but they have to know what you need in a very specific way.
And constant, transparent communication completely solves that problem. That eliminates that guessing wall that people have. Because then now take it on the other side. So here's the husband, and from the husband's standpoint, he's seeing it from the wife's point of view. The wife is thinking, in her mind, he's waking up every morning going, how can I show my disrespect? What would be the best thing I could do to piss my wife off? That's what's going on in her mind, right? And it's understandable when you're kind of isolating your own thoughts from the rest of the world and reality to come up with these strange conclusions, to the point where if you're doing it every day, sometimes you'll eventually believe them. But maybe the reality is that husband's on the other side going, I think I'm psychologically depressed. I think I've got something wrong with me. I want to be able to do more, but I can't. I can't physically get my body to work. And I feel like my whole world is caving around me, and I physically can't move my body to get up. I feel like a piece of crap. My wife is working hard. I feel like a failure to her. I just want to kind of exist without having to put any burdens on anybody. But all I really could use is just some extra love and support. But, my wife seems like she's mad at me all the time and nothing I do is right? That's the other side of the story that's going on. But because there's no talking happening, there's no transparent communication about he could have expressed that a long time ago, and she could have expressed what she was believing a long time ago, and they could have been on the same page and helped each other grow together and resolve those problems. But without the communication, that can never happen. What happens is everybody creates their own beliefs and they just build upon these crazy foundations of their own fictional conclusions and get mad at each other based on that. That can never work.
And we've seen that so many times where, like with that couple, he thought she hates him and she thought he disrespects her. Nope, they love each other, but they just weren't communicating. And we even helped like a couple with a psychologist where, and they both loved each other, but they thought they were just friends only at this stage in our lives. But it was just that she was, giving him the kind of attention she wished she got, and he was giving her the attention he wished she got, but neither of them were actually giving each other what the other wanted. Why? Because for 30 years of marriage, they never actually expressed what made them feel good. I know how to make this guy happy. He loves touch. As long as you don't see I'm holding his hand. Right. Our toes are usually touching. As long as I'm making physical contact, he's happy.
Do you want to know how she knows that? Because one day she asked me and I told her. It's as simple as that.
Yep.
I actually, I actually teach that in my 10-week program, learning what your love language is, because it is so important. If you are dating someone whose love language is physical touch and you have no desires for that, well, it's not going to work out very well, right? So yeah, I'm really glad that you said that.
And it doesn't matter what you do, right? I could cook for him, clean for him. I could buy him presents, and he will feel unloved if he doesn't get some of the top of the head.
Exactly. Yeah. So do you have any words of advice or encouragement to anyone watching who is single and vegan and really wants to find a vegan partner but is feeling discouraged?
Gosh, there's so many things. I'd say the first thing is, and I know this is something that we always both agree on, is that you want to become the partner you're looking for.
Yes.
A lot of times people are looking for that perfect partner who's going to complete me, who's going to be everything that I want in this world. But that person is looking for the same. So if there's areas in your life where you need to work on in order to be the highest version of yourself, that's where you start, right? The reason that he was good for me in that moment was because of how confident and successful and happy he was. Because I was looking for a partner who was at that level, and I wouldn't have settled for less. Right. And same back again. Right. We've both been through relationships with people who were insecure and all those things, and we weren't looking for that. So the best way to meet the partner who is everything you ever wanted is to put the energy into yourself to become the person you've always wanted to be, the best version of yourself. Go after your dreams. Do things that make you happy and fulfilled. Hang out with people who make you feel loved and seen. And when you get to the level where you feel like your life is what you wished it always would be, then you actually don't need a partner anymore, because you are the partner, right? When I'm working with people who are, afraid to leave their spouse because they're afraid of being alone, I always say, but alone is so much better than what you got right now. I love alone. If I wasn't with him, I'd happily be alone. Not as thrilled as I am to have my partner, but I have no problem being alone, right? I'm actually great company. I like my thoughts. I like my humor. I love my work. I'm fulfilled. He just adds more joy. So if you feel like there's parts of your life that are unfulfilled, fulfill them for yourself. Mm-hmm. Fulfill them for yourself. Then you will stumble onto the person who's doing the same thing, because you're energetically going to meet eye to eye.
You said something that was so profound one time that we had to make it a quote. You said that you don't attract who you want.
Nice.
So many relationship coaches talk about you got to put a laundry list of all the qualities that you're looking for in a partner. Which really should be a laundry list of what you want for yourself, for you to become. Because what Brooke said was, you don't attract what you want, you attract who you are.
Yes.
So if you're a person who's searching, then that sometimes implies that you've got something missing, which means you're going to attract other people that are feeling like they're missing something in their life and they're expecting you to fill it. And that never works out very well. You want to, so the biggest fundamental key to our relationship was, we became whole people before we got together. So I was whole. I was lacking nothing. I didn't need anything. That's why I said I made a commitment to myself, and I achieved a level of happiness and fulfillment that I thought I don't need anybody. I'm happy being single. I can live the rest of my life with no regrets, just pouring all my love into my friendships and in my family and in my own personal projects, my business. I was so happy doing that. I achieved so much fulfillment from doing that. I remember the day I was like, I could just die being happy with no regrets. It's okay if I never get married. I'm actually fully happy and satisfied. And then that's when she showed up in my life.
Yeah, I have to say, we actually both had a best friend named Sean at the time, and we both told our independent Seans 2 weeks before we met, I'll be very happy even if I never get married or meet someone. My life is perfect. And then there we were. So I think that's the biggest thing is if you're searching, look within, fulfill yourself. You don't need a partner to fulfill you. You need to work and create the life you want. And it has to be a life of passion and purpose. What makes you excited and happy? We both work in the world of helping people actually convert their diets to give up meat and dairy and the things that they do. And we bring them to that through our own personal story. Actually, when I met him, I actually was sick with an autoimmune disease called lupus. And I was a vegetarian since I was a kid, eating tons of dairy and eggs and everything. He changed my diet because I wanted to look fit for our wedding, and that was his specialty. And he told me all that saturated fat was keeping me fat. So I changed my diet. I became 100% vegan by accident, and my disease went away. Now, at the time, I'm a first-year doctor, and I just had an incurable disease go away. And so us coming together also cured my disease and changed the whole course of our lives, where now that's what we do is we help people get their lives back and their health back by eating a plant-based diet and eating the most nourishing, healthy foods and taking amazing care of themselves emotionally as well, creating happiness and joy for themselves. And so that's our passion. That's what we love to do is give people health and purpose and happiness in their lives. You got to figure out what your passion is, go after that, and you're going to find someone else who's also passionate as well, and you're going to add to each other's lives.
I love that. Thank you so much. You basically just echoed everything that I'm always telling people. So I really, really appreciate you guys. And that's why you two are so happy and still so in love. And I can see it and I can feel it. And it's because, it all starts with you before you guys found each other. So you guys are amazing. You are really inspiring. Thank you so much for being part of this. I really appreciate it. I'm sure other people watching are super inspired. So thank you.
Oh, thank you. And you're welcome. And thanks for inviting us. When I saw the name of your thing, I was like, it's so fun. It's Valentine's Day coming up. So we always love getting to talk about love. So this is really fun. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Okay. So now we are going to bring on our next guests, our wonderful Courtney and John. Okay, I don't know if I can hear you.
Yes, here we go.
Hello. No, thank you so much for being here. So you guys may recognize the beautiful Courtney with her purple hair from Veg World magazine. And John, this is the first time that you and I meet. So it's nice to meet you. Thank you so much for being a part of this. So,
and it's John Francis, just to clarify.
Sorry?
And it's John Francis, just to clarify.
Oh, okay.
It goes by John Francis. 2 names. It's his first and middle name, but there's just a lot of Johns in the world. He goes by
There are. So you two have an adorable story. I remember seeing the pictures from your engagement, and I just thought, wow, amazing. It was so cute. So I would love for you to share with people watching your story, how you met, how long you've been together, if you went vegan together, and all that good stuff.
So I love sharing this because I do want to start off by saying that I truly believe that destiny is a thing.
Same.
Fate is a thing. We both align in that. And it's so obvious as we look back on even before we met that we were supposed to be in each other's lives with all the random connections that we had, a lot of mutual friends. We both were already vegan when we met. So it wasn't like I made him go vegan or he made me go vegan. It was like, oh, we're already in agreement on this. We came to it in, the years before we met. So it was just like, that was already established and aligned. And how amazing is that? So that was special. And then I guess going back, to when we first met, it's funny, it's through Facebook. So
I had
digital.
been vegan for about 6 or 7 months at that point, because I actually had the year before gotten out of the hospital with an autoimmune disease. And I had been vegetarian most of my life since I was 8. And getting the autoimmune disease was like my final kick to finally fully go vegan. And then like her old college roommate posted this thing on Facebook saying, "Hey, Courtney, you would love this." And it was about the herbivorous butcher. I was like, "Who's this Courtney woman?" And so I added her, and like we started talking, and she was super friendly. So I was like, "Oh, okay, cool." But then I realized she was with someone at the time. I was like, "Okay, well, she's just a nice person. That's cool. I still need to meet more vegans to get into the vegan scene." But then about 3 years later, and over the course of the next 3 years, we would just kind of randomly run into each other. I ran into you at an event, through some of your business ventures with the Dallas Magazine. We worked together here and there.
So many random events, like not even vegan related. We just ran into each other at the most, like a tech event, and then like a startup event, and just a random friend connection. I mean, just the craziest situations were like, why does the world keep putting us in each other's paths?
Yeah, so finally around the Earth X Festival, a mutual friend of ours who lives out of town came in for like 3 or 4 weekends in a row. So it caused the three of us to hang out every weekend. And then when he stopped coming, we just kept kind of hanging out, and it kind of went from there. And I had been going to Austin, and we were talking to Austin. She's like, "We should go on an Austin road trip." I was like, "Sure. Why not?" I know a lot of my, past connections were very flaky, so we'd have these grand ideas, and I'd be like, "I'll believe it when I see it." But she's, throwing out like different dates we could go, and like, different places, because she knows all the vegan stuff out there. And so like, I guess this is happening. And what was supposed to just be like, 2 vegan friends going to Austin turned into our first date. And
kind of fun. Road trip is your first date, but it worked for us.
it was awesome. Yeah, we had a very revealing conversation over Arlo's burgers.
Yes.
About how we felt, and it was because at first you were kind of gun shy to get in a relationship, and we actually had a call about a week or two later, and you're like, "I don't know, like I'm kind of scared because you're the kind of guy you marry," and I was like, "I'm not complaining about that."
So similar to the couple before us. I thought it was really interesting that Thomas said that he wanted to have her as a friend because she was so great, and he just didn't want to lose that. I felt that way too. At first I was like, this guy's either a really good friend or he's into me. And I was like, either way, I want him in my life. I was like, it was in that moment that I had met so many, I'll just say it, pretty terrible guys. And I was just like, I just need a good guy in my life, and this is definitely it. So if he's just being super friendly and he's not into me, that's fine. I just want him in my life because his energy is on point. We have so much in common. He's vegan. And I almost thought, like, this is too good to be true. There's got to be something wrong. I'm sure maybe he's just like not into me. And I was kind of accepting that, like, it's fine as long as we can still be friends. And then it was just kind of revealed as we
The
talked.
reality was I could sense that she felt that way. So I was like, well, I don't want to be that guy who ruins what she's just looking for a friendship. I don't want to ruin that. Especially not right now, so I'm not going to say anything, even though I want to. But then she was like, "So, what's going on here?" I was like, "All right, well,
I had to ask."
How I feel.
Yeah, and it was funny because it was similar to the couple before us too. It was just kind of like, "Are you attracted to me? What are we doing? Like, what's going on?" And it was like, yeah, we're both very attracted to each other, but I just came out of like a terrible relationship, like really bad. And so I was very scared. I was scared to jump right into another relationship because obviously you got to heal. You got to take time after a bad one. And so that's why, honestly, I think we would have been faster, to be honest. I think we didn't get married after 2 months like they did. But we did move in together pretty fast. And
we've been talking about marriage since even before we officially started dating.
Yeah, because I said it. I was like, you're the guy you marry. I mean, I was searching for something wrong with him. I was like, where is it? Does he keep dead bodies in his closet? I don't know. But yeah, no, obviously there was nothing. We both don't drink. We're both, sober, straight edge vegans. Both, like I said, we were already vegan, tons of mutual friends who were vetted by each other's friends. So there's that. And there's kind of like, we have to do this. I mean, it's crazy to think about, he's been searching for a vegan lady. Likewise, I was searching for a guy that's got that ethics and morals down, and we're just already aligned. And I know from talking to a lot of my other girlfriends that once they met John Francis and got to know him, they're like, all right, does he have a brother? Where can I get one? Like they always, even my friends to this day, we've been together about 2.5 years now. They're like, not every guy can be John Francis. And I'm like, I know. Cause most of my friends are vegan too. And every girlfriend of mine is just like, I just want a vegan guy. And so I know it's hard. I feel very fortunate, but the whole purpose of this video right now is to show that it's possible. Yeah. There are amazing guys out there like John Francis.
And amazing women for the guys.
Yes, that are vegan and they totally get it. It's not like a process. I mean, I know how hard it can be if you're trying to make your significant other go vegan or educate them. But there are people that are already there.
Even when I was vegetarian in relationships, it was always kind of difficult.
Yeah.
It's just like, all right.
Yeah. So that's it. That's our story.
Well, that is an adorable story. And tell us a bit more about the engagement, because like I said, I remember seeing the pictures and it was just like out of like a movie.
So
yeah.
I do want to start by saying, if anybody watching this has never been to Ireland, once it's safe to travel, I know it's not really now, but please go, especially if you're vegan or if you just love, fairy tales or like magical movie kind of stuff. The whole time I was there, I was like, am I in a movie? Is this staged? Like, it's just so green and lush and beautiful and natural. I mean, so much gorgeous nature, and being vegan is very easy out there. I mean, the food, we ate so many amazing, at so many amazing restaurants
out there too.
Yeah. I mean, we still talk to a lot of them. So Ireland is just magical. Please go if you haven't been.
Yeah. So the kind of story behind it, I'm Irish American, and in 2017, I went to Ireland by myself for 2 weeks as a vegan. So when Courtney and I started dating, of course I've been teaching her Irish mythology and history and stuff, and she's been loving it a lot. And so we got to go to Ireland, and we came across this great deal in February of 2019.
Such a good deal.
And it was just too good to pass up. It was for the both of us to go. It was the same price as when I went by myself 2 years ago, 2 years before. So it was like, yeah, let's do it. Let's get the tickets.
Again, this was fate. This is just, it was pure, like, timing was perfect.
And our favorite holiday is Halloween, which is actually an Irish holiday.
Fun fact, it's not Americanized. It's an Irish holiday.
Yeah, like 90% of the stuff we do on Halloween, like down to trick-or-treating, is from like ancient Celtic practices.
Yep. He taught me that. I didn't know that before.
And in 2018, we went to Salem, Massachusetts for Halloween. And I made her coat and her outfit. I designed and everything. I sew.
We'll have to send pictures of that.
Yeah, for sure. The dress she's wearing in the picture of us, I actually designed and made that.
Yes,
as well.
The dress that you put in the ad for us, he made that dress. So he makes a lot of my clothes, which again, like, hello, are you real?
That's amazing. Let me show off this picture again.
So you can't see the bottom. There's lace at the bottom. But yeah, he made that. Everyone's like, wow, it fits you like a glove. I'm like, yeah, because he got my measurements.
Yeah. When she went to as a surprise for her. But yeah, once we booked the tickets in February, that's when it hit me. I was like, I'm going to propose to her.
So he been planning this for months. And at this point, we hadn't even been together a year yet.
No, not even. But like, we've been talking about marriage since even before we held hands.
It's so cheesy. I'm sure everybody has heard this saying, when you know, you know. We always thought like, whatever. But then we got together, we're like, oh, it's real.
I found it frustrating because there's no like, hints or instructions like, well, how do I know? I want to know how I'm going to know. Yeah. So when I know, I know. But really, it's just when you know, you know.
It hits you like a ton of bricks. You're just like, oh, this is what they meant.
But yeah, so I started, planning out like, okay, where can I do the proposal? What can I do? Like, what kind of, it's going to be on Halloween morning because it's our favorite holiday. And I found this ancient fairy ring fort, and she's my fairy. So of course I proposed to her at a fairy ring fort.
And keep in mind, this ancient fairy ring fort, we looked it up. It's like 2,000 years old.
It's older
and
than
it overlooks the Atlantic Ocean. And it's just like, how is this real? This is not, you literally the whole time I was like, this is a movie. This is staged. No, it's just, that's everywhere in Ireland is just like insane.
Yeah. So I spent the next few months, designing our costumes and making them. And I just told her, because I knew she wanted our engagement to be photographed. So I was like, oh, we're just going to go to this cool place to get photographs of our Halloween costumes because, I'm spending all this time making it. I want to make sure we get those. And she's like, okay.
Yeah, I'm like,
yeah, that's exactly what I was wondering. Well, wait, you were wearing the dress and everything, so how was it staged?
Yeah, I'm trying to pass it off as just like a photo shoot for our costumes. And I also, I was,
which fair enough.
Yeah, of course. But also like I always found it strange that men don't really wear engagement rings.
Yeah, it's another American thing that's silly.
So one thing I did was when we were in the Cliffs of Moher at the gift shop, I found a Claddagh ring, which is an Irish promise ring. It's with
everybody has seen that, the hands.
Yeah, the
together.
hands and the heart and the crown.
It's Irish.
So when I got it, I was like, I just wanted one of these for a long time, and I kept it in my right hand. And then the day came, I had it coordinated with the photographer. Like, all right, when you find the best like visual looking spot, you're going to be like, all right, here's the signal, and I'm going to be like, okay, cool, that's it. All right, Courtney, we're just going to take some solo photos of you. Then we'll get some of me. And while she's getting some solo shots, I pull out the ring and like a custom made ring box.
And he wrote a
poem. And I wrote the poem, and the last line was, Courtney Garza, will you marry me? And I knelt down and I opened the box.
And can I just say, we'll have to send you this picture too, but it's funny, the fort has like a tunnel entryway, and so that's where we got that photo of us getting engaged. And it looks like we had like a what's it called?
A wind machine.
A wind machine, like blowing our outfit and blowing my hair. But no, it was just so cold that day.
Yeah.
It was freezing and it was so windy. I think it's because the Atlantic Ocean is right there, so it's like the waves.
Luckily, we had capes and they kept us very warm.
Yeah, we were very warm, but it was just also cold on our exposed faces and ears and stuff. But I think it's magical because as he's proposing, we're like blowing in the wind.
It's very majestic.
It's so like movie moment, and he gets down on one knee, and I want to say that I was shocked. I was surprised. I was definitely
I was going to ask you, if you had a feeling or.
I had a feeling. Yeah. I was just like, okay, something's happening, especially the way he was like looking at me in the morning. Like, as we were getting ready, I'm like,
I actually had a dream.
He's getting ready for
morning.
something.
So my father died in 2016. So unfortunately, the reason we were supposed to hang out one time after that we first met on Facebook, but the reason we couldn't that one time was my father had actually passed. So I was just like, hey, I got a family emergency.
So I've never met him, but
so unfortunately they never got to meet. But the morning Halloween morning, 2019, I had a dream that I was talking to my father, and I was like, by the way, I'm going to propose to Courtney today, and he was like, oh, good, I'm very happy. And so it was like I got like this nice
his blessing
from my father
from the beyond.
So I woke up and I was like, all right, let's do this.
Yes. So it was just so magical. So yeah, I mean, like, obviously I was a little tipped off when he was like, I have a photographer coming. I'm like, that's weird. So I knew it to a certain degree. I mean, don't get me wrong. I do tons of photo shoots. So of course I was like, we should get awesome professional photos. So he contacted a photographer, obviously already in Ireland. It wouldn't make sense for us to bring one, so we met up with this awesome guy. And so it worked out really well. And definitely a magical moment. I don't think there could have been a more perfect engagement. Obviously, to each his own. I mean, everybody's got their own thing, but for me, it was the most perfect engagement ever. So definitely spot on. And we were supposed to get married. We would be married by now. Honestly, everyone's like, "Why haven't you? When's the wedding?" It was supposed to be on Halloween last year, but this thing called the pandemic happened. So, we pushed it off. Yeah. So Halloween this year, hopefully. I will say it would have been awesome if it was last year because it was a full moon and on a Saturday, but we don't want to have a small wedding. So,
yeah, COVID definitely has changed a lot of stuff, right? I mean, but there is some positive stuff that has come out. So, but that's such a beautiful story. I absolutely love that. And again, it's like this stuff does happen. And so, unfortunately, so many people, they just think that it'll never happen for them. But I really believe that it's entirely your mindset, right?
And we met on Facebook. So it's like, it's an example, too, of like a digital connection.
Yeah.
And look where we are now. So it's possible.
And I had actually kind of come to that, resolution of like, because I'm a strange person.
Me too.
And I didn't think I was ever going to find someone who, was as strange as me. So I was like, all right, well, I'd rather be, kind of lonely and by myself than just compromise for a relationship that's not right. I'd rather be by myself than, in a better relationship. But then lo and behold, here comes this very strange fairy woman who shares like pretty much every single like value, and even some of the smallest things. Like we both love ketchup.
Yes. Can I just tell everyone too, if you're worried about like your picky things, I just want to say when we first started like eating out together, I'll say all vegan places, we noticed that each other were very picky. I've always been a picky eater. Before I was vegan, my poor family, they had to suffer so much. They're like, what does she eat? And then when I went vegan, they were like, no, more things she won't eat. Anyway, long story short, when we realized that we both were picky, I told him, I'm so glad you're picky. And he goes, no one's ever said that to me. And I'm like, well, this is another thing we have in common. So if you're worried that you're too picky for your own good and that there's not someone out there that's the same way, there's probably someone out there that also doesn't like random things like olives like you do. So
I agree. I really do think that there is someone out there for everyone. And it's just a matter of time, right? Sometimes people meet much later on in life, but I really think that if you have that positive mindset, if you keep doing your own thing, if you really work on, and Brooke touched a lot about on this, is truly loving yourself, loving your life, like in all aspects. And it's about wanting to share life with a partner, not needing, because when you come from that place, it's completely different, right?
Good
so,
point.
yeah. So do you, sorry, go ahead.
Oh yeah, one thing I want to say is like just something I learned from my relationships in the past is, one of the good things about dating is you learn what you need and don't need in a relationship, and things you can tolerate, things you can't tolerate.
Yeah.
And so you kind of naturally develop a list. And what I found was that I would develop a list, but once I would get like enamored by a woman, I would just like forget or even ignore those signs. And of course, those relationships would never last. And so when I started following head over heels for Courtney, I was like, all right, I've got to make sure I do this right this time. I don't just want to get swept up and then realize later down the line. Obviously, sometimes you got to date for a while to really realize that person is right. But if you could see certain things at the start, that's a good sign. Sometimes red flags will show themselves right away, like my previous relationships did. So this time, with Courtney, I actually sat down and was like, okay, what are the things that I need? Okay, I definitely need these things. What are things I absolutely cannot do, work with? Now, I honestly wrote it all out, not to turn love into like a pragmatic thing, but I made a checklist, and she hit all the positives, and she even hit all like the little bonuses. Like, obviously, if you didn't like wearing fun skirts and outfits, like that's fine. We match everywhere else.
But I do.
But it's just a bonus that she loves wearing all these fun, bright colors and outfits. And it's just,
And that's what he had always been looking for. Go figure.
Yeah. So going in, I knew, I sussed out any possible red flags, and I saw I didn't really find any. I saw like green flags, like a field of green flags, and I've yet to find any others. So I think that's another reason why, we have such a strong relationship, is because going in, we both, we learned from our past relationships this time around.
So for anyone listening that likes to make checklists, it could help.
Yeah.
Oh, you're on mute. I don't know if I can.
You're on mute, Vegan Cupid.
Oh, I'm on mute.
There you are.
That was weird. I brought you guys on and I went on mute. Thank you.
There you are.
So, I'm going to open it back up. And so if anyone is watching live and you have any questions for one of these two lovely couples, please. Oh, this sucks. So if anybody watching live has any questions, please leave a comment now. This has been so much fun. I just adore hearing these beautiful love stories. It is so inspiring. And every single day I talk to vegan singles, and I just try to encourage and inspire as many people as I can, and that's why I'm doing this. So I don't think I see any comments now, but let's just give people a second. I just want to let you guys know that this Sunday I am doing a very special Valentine's Day show. So yes, it's Valentine's. Yes, I'm going to be working because, it's a day of love. And so I'm going to be doing this super fun show. It's going to be a vegan dating show. So I'm featuring one of my matchmaking clients, and I've picked 3 potential matches for him. And you guys watching live will get to pick who he's going to go on a virtual date with. So I'm really, really excited about that.
That sounds so entertaining.
Yeah. He doesn't, and I don't show pictures when I do my matchmaking. So he doesn't know what they look like. They don't know what he looks like. And it's going to be lots of fun. So that's what I have coming up this Sunday.
And I'm gonna watch that. That looks fun.
Yeah. And then, so if anybody watching, if you're single and you're vegan and you want to find love, an easy way to potentially find love is to fill out a profile to get into my database. It is completely free. It doesn't mean that you will hear from me, but it's a chance. So why not take the chance, right? Like, look at these couples. They've really opened up their hearts, and you never know when, where, and how are you going to meet that special someone. So why not just fill out that profile, see what happens. And I encourage you to go to my website, findveglove.com, click under dating advice, and you will see a couple of videos of my featured vegan bachelors and bachelorettes. Okay, so have a look at that. Maybe you'll be watching the videos, and maybe you'll have a friend or a colleague or family member that might make a great match for them. Okay, so please let them know. And of course, I have my Facebook group in case you want, if you're interested in connecting with other amazing vegan singles, that is a great place to start. And so I don't see any questions here. So thank you. So we will wrap it up. Thank you so much to all of you again for being part of this. I really appreciate your time. And any final words, anyone?
Communication is key, like Brooke and Thomas were saying. Just check in and ask questions too.
Always don't bottle up.
Well, it was an honor being here. Thanks so much for having us. It was a pleasure. It was great listening to you two as well.
Likewise.
I really think there's nothing more attractive than someone who's working on making themselves whole before trying to fill their spaces with somebody else. There is nothing more attractive than someone who is authentically independent and fulfilled and happy before meeting you. So I think the most fundamental part of all of this is starting a relationship as a whole person, not a partial person. So work on your fulfillment, because most of the issues that a lot of people end up struggling with in a relationship are a result of not being whole to begin with. So work on your own fulfillment and your wholeness. And 90% of the arguments that most people would usually have in a relationship don't even happen when you start off whole.
Yep. As always, you say what I would have said. And also, I feel like the question people often ask, like, if you have to question yourself whether you're in the right relationship, then you're not. And it's either because it's not the right person or you're not ready for it yet. And even in those situations, the answer is to go back to yourself. Whenever I had a breakup, I would come back to myself rather than blame that person. I'd say, what about me allowed this into my life? What about me allowed this person to act this way? And how can I fix that so that I don't ever allow that into myself again? I always took breakups as an opportunity to grow. And then when I grew big enough that I didn't need them, then that's when I was ready to actually have the most meaningful relationship of all.
I love that. Thank you so much. All right. Have a great night, everyone. And thank you so much again. Take care.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.